community is officially live on YouTube for the Thursday edition of the Average Investor Show, the JWB Week. I'm your host, Pablo Gonzalez. With me, as always, a guy that I affectionately like to call GC because of his genius concepts, because he knows how to generate cash flow, because he's a great co-host, and because his name is Gregg Cohen. Say hello, Greg.
Hello, everybody.
And we're missing our MTM today. MTM is a little under the weather, Madison the Magnificent, but in order to make up for that, we have a thunderbolt of excitement, a celebrity around these parts. She is the Johnny Appleseed, the Juanita Appleseed of rental property investing, JWB, the Not Your Average Investor Show community. We call her the fairy godmother of our community, the beloved Jen Filzen. Say hello, Jen.
Hello, guys and gals. How are you? I love our family.
Jen, I got to hear your tagline. Do the one thing.
Oh, sorry. May all of your real estate wishes come true. I'm like, which tagline? I have so many.
Let's go. And if you're joining us live on the YouTube stream, you're watching later on YouTube, you're listening to us on the podcast at some point in the future. If you want to be a part of this giggly good time that we've got going on here, go to NYAIS.com, register, show up live, make a friend in the chat, and be part of what, Jen? What do we do right here?
Roll call.
Look at that. The order has been restored. Our leadoff batter,
John Henry,
is in the house. Pedro Nacianceno from Jersey checking in. We got a Not Your Average Guest. So that is, if you check in on the text, you're populated as Not Your Average Guest, but you can change it. So let us know who you are. But somebody knows you, Jen. The fairy godmother of the NYAI community is here. We got our regulars, Rosalind and Gary Riley, the second family of the Not Your Average Investor Show community, checking in from Murrieta, California. We got the better Greg Stone checking in from New Jersey. We got Milady Jack Chatta checking in as well. Say good morning. Can we talk about seller financing today? Yeah, we can, Jack. We'll talk about it in a second. We got our boy Tony D.
Tony D up in the house, baby.
And Anthony Ditta on the way to hopefully a sunny San Diego. All right, let's go, Tony. I love that. We got Leo Barraganan. Faraganan. Nickname bestowed by Jen, Leo Faraganan, our resident hair band drummer in the house. We got the Duchess
of the first name of the Not Your Investor Show. We salute you.
Yeah, Karen Jensen in the house. We got Nadeem Shah with his trademark good afternoon from snowy Toronto. Oh, so he's not his trademark good morning, good afternoon, because he's usually on the West Coast. Today he's in Toronto, eh? Good to have you in there. We got the mountain man, Billy Green, saying good morning from the mountains of Colorado. Ruger, my snot-nosed mule deer, says hi. We got the patriarch and matriarch of the first family of the Not Your Average Investor Show, Ken and Carolyn Malin.
We salute you.
And who else we got?
I like how we just came a little subdued there, brought down the tone a little bit for the first.
You got to show reverence. You got to show reverence. We got the ringmaster,
Drew Barnhill.
The ringmaster, Drew Barnhill's in the house. We got Marilyn Cotterman from Homosassa, Florida.
Jen.
Home of the manatees.
Thank you so much.
We got David Blanner in the house checking in from New England. Who else? We got our favorite name to pronounce.
Okay.
When she steps
into the lights.
Aaron O'Neill checking in. We got Deborah Schwartz checking in from Los Cabos this morning. Deborah, good to have you. Is Deborah a new name?
New name?
Is that a new name?
Welcome to the party,
Deborah. Los Cabos. We got Mahesh Pogaku in the house. New name.
Mahesh, welcome to the party.
Good to have you here. Love it. We got a Not Your Average Guest checking in from Tampa. We don't know that name because you checked in with the text, but you can change it and let us know who you are. And we got Bill Shields with his trademark greeting, which is
Buenas tardes, amigos.
Good to have you. Good to have you here, guys. Normally, we start off with Madison Sharon News. She's not here, but we do have a recurring announcement. What do we got, Jen? Why don't you tell us what we're about to talk about here?
Good news.
Jen, what's happening in 1 month?
Oh, heck yeah. Jacksonville meetup, brothers and sisters. Oh yeah, February 25th in Jacksonville. We're going to have an amazing time. Be there or be square.
All right. And to the request of the community, Jen came in asking everybody, we're going to go over it one more time so that you know. If you go to jwbrealestate.com/tour, you get to this landing page here. It's got all the information. You can register. Join us on Saturday, February 25th here in Jacksonville. We got the agenda. Greg, do you want to read the agenda?
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a really cool opportunity. It's not only the opportunity for us to get together, which is enough of an opportunity in itself to be able to hang out with all of you. But this is going to be really hands-on, especially designed for those who might not have ever been to Jacksonville before, maybe been kind of kicking the tires on investing in a turnkey rental property. This is going to be there for you as well. We're going to start off with a little check-in, a little introduction. We're going to talk a little bit about a higher level of what you can accomplish through this asset class. We're going to do a Not Your Average Investor panel. I think we might get the fairy godmother on the panel. What do you think over there, fairy godmother?
I think that'd be fantastic.
If you want to hear Jen's story more and more, you're going to be able to meet her along with a number of others to share their story. We're going to take a property tour. We're going to go visit 2 JWB properties. We're going to do a live property of the week, which is going to be fun for all of us. We're going to have lunch. Lunch is actually provided here as well for you. So it's $39 to attend. Lunch is included. And then we've organized a special downtown walking tour in Jacksonville, where you're going to get to see a revitalizing Jacksonville. We're going to put the whole picture together for how this helps you earn a better risk-adjusted return on your investment in those rental properties that are right around downtown, which is the strategy that JWB clients are employing. We're going to wrap it up with a little happy hour. And we are also going to do our 50-50 raffle drawing, which we haven't talked about until then or until now, but somebody's going to walk away with a big check and also helping to support JWB Cares, which, as you all or many of you are aware, JWB Cares is our charitable foundation. And what we do is we raise money all throughout the year through events like this and in other things like our charity golf tournament. And every dollar we raise, 100% of the dollars we raise, go to building a brand new home, which we then gift to a local veteran who needs a helping hand with affordable housing. This will be our 5th home that we will be donating. So everybody who contributes to the raffle, buys raffle tickets, will 100% be supporting that mission, which is incredible. And then the way a 50-50 raffle works is, of all the money we raise, half of it goes to one lucky winner who's going to walk away with a big check. I think last year we had $16,000 that we raised in our raffle. Yeah, so 8 of that went to JWB Cares. 8 of that went to a very lucky person within our Not Your Average Investor community. So this is a great opportunity for an entire day. You can buy tickets for the raffle if you're coming to the event, and you can buy tickets for the raffle if you're not. I don't have the way for you to buy them right here, though. No, we're setting that up.
We're just teasing it.
Tune in next week when I let you know exactly how you can buy those raffle tickets. But you can go to this landing page and sign up for the tour, jwbrealestate.com/tour. And we hope to see all of you there.
Yeah, there you go. And we're just kind of, perusing this website. You got the agenda right here. Jag is asking, saying first time in Jacksonville, is there an agenda? Our only real agenda is this agenda of the day, this 9 a.m. check-in, 6 p.m. finish of the happy hour. Just going to be entertained all day. But that doesn't mean that Jen isn't a party person, and we're not going to be hanging out probably Friday night. We'll have stuff to do informal, not based on JWB, just based
unofficial.
Unofficial, just organic community friends just hanging out. That stuff will pop up, but the official agenda of the day is this Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And just to give you a little rundown of the site, right? Like you can register here. It's got the full agenda. It tells you where you can find parking. Right below that, there's places to stay, right? Need a place to stay in Jax. They show you a couple options downtown, a couple options in town center, a couple options by the beaches. And there's a video of the first meetup, and you can see the podcast and join the community and all that stuff. Everything at jwbrealestate.com/tour. So everything that you need is there. We hope to see you there. I love it. Keitha is checking in saying that she's coming from San Diego.
All right, Keitha. Fantastic.
Happy to have you here. I know Jen's coming. I know who else? Lee's coming.
Lee's coming. Nadim's coming. Leslie's coming. Like I can't list them all, but my goodness, we've got a great group of people. And she was also asking, is it happening just Friday and Saturday? So the actual meetup is on Saturday, but as I understand it, and you guys can clarify, there will be some personal property tours where you get to meet with your portfolio manager and you go see your properties on Friday. Is that correct?
Well, so for those who want to come in on Friday and they want to actually come and meet the team and see the office and go on property tours, just talk to us before. Just give us a heads up that that's your plan and we'll make sure that we can accommodate. So if you don't reach out, then it might be tough to organize on the fly. So make sure you reach out to us, talk to your portfolio manager ahead of time, and we can accommodate for Friday.
Cool. Jag's coming also. So pumped to meet Jag. Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. I'm excited. I'm excited to see everybody. I'm excited to get back together. Last time we did this, I think we had like 70 plus people
It was great.
that showed up. This time's going to be a little smaller.
Yeah.
We are, last time we had to get 2 buses. That means that we had to split our time between buses. We want to be all together. So it's just going to be a
I'm not leaving your side and your side either, Jen.
Okay.
It's going to be a 1 bus party. We're all going to be hanging out the whole time. It's going to be excellent. So I'm really, really excited for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And there's also some breaking news. GC, what's breaking?
There is so much breaking news going on. I mean, there's trumpets flaring. There's like beeps happening. I don't even know what's going on here. I'll give you some breaking news here. So, Jacksonville continues to make lists of different, whether there's a list of population growth, which we just talked about, or jobs coming into the area or whatnot. And we also make real estate lists. And so what just came out recently is Zillow posted their top 10 hottest markets for the year 2023, and Jacksonville came in the top 10. Jacksonville was ranked number 6. So I think this is, highlighting a lot of what we talk about on the show. When you're thinking about places that you want to keep your money, especially over the long haul in rental properties, you want to be places where there's significant population growth and there's significant job growth. And those are some of the metrics that they used when putting this list together. Specifically, it was expected home price growth. So Jacksonville stacked up really high, according to Zillow there. Projected change in owner-occupant households. So more people coming in and seeing a greater percentage of those people actually own homes. And then job growth as well. So Jacksonville's number 6. I thought it was interesting, some of the moves as well. Those who were on the list last year are not on the list this year. Last year, Jacksonville was ranked number 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So now we're number 6. The number 1 city was Tampa last year. No longer in the top 10.
Not even in the top 10.
Yep. The only other city in Florida that made the top 10, according to Zillow, is Miami, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So there you go.
Do you see, I love the cocktail of population growth, home ownership growth, and job growth. Right. Like that to me seems like a real sustainable recipe for demand for the housing stock. I also, now that you mention it, this idea that Jacksonville's on the list this year, it was on last year, Miami just made this list. I feel like, am I wrong? But I feel like even when I was living in Miami 5+ years ago, Jacksonville was always on this list. Do you have a sense of how many years in a row Jacksonville has been a top 10 fastest growing metro? Because it feels like at least 8 years.
Yeah. And there's, some of these publications put this, they have their own list. And I don't know if it's always been Zillow that it's been in the top 10 for 5 years or something like that. But between Zillow and Redfin and all these sites, right? Jacksonville is one of those markets that has consistently been focused on as being a great place because they all measure the same thing. They measure population growth. They measure job growth, right? Those things don't really change when it comes to establishing a better market to invest in. It's been that way for some number of years. You can go back and look it up. And then guess what? Jacksonville has appreciated at a rate that is better than average and higher than normal because of these same things. So you'll continue to see this thing play out this way in the near future and in the long run. And that's a lot of why we know we're winning here in Jacksonville.
There you go. Jen, guest investor. Brand new to the show, first time ever. Just kidding. Everybody knows you. Why don't you, you grew up in Jacksonville, right? When you were growing up in Jacksonville, was it on the list of top 10 cities? When do you remember this starting to happen?
I knew that Jacksonville was starting to become famous. Remember the show Wheel of Fortune? And the ultimate prize winner would win something. I remember, I think I was a preteen. So this had to have been early 80s. And I was watching Wheel of Fortune and it was like, and the grand prize is a trip to Jacksonville, Florida. And I turned to my parents. I'm like, really? Why?
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, they must have been on a budget back then for their grand prizes because I don't think Jacksonville was really attracting too many people back then.
Yeah, that's hilarious, Jen. That's awesome. Jen, why don't you give everybody kind of a summary of your background as an investor, where you're the guest investor today. We're going to go into the property of the week, but what has been your, in 2 minutes or less investing kind of journey?
Okay, so for those who know me and have heard my story, forgive me. I have to repeat it for the newbies, okay? Welcome, newbies. We love you. We are a genuine community. And no, these guys don't pay me to be here. I'm just a truly enthusiastic super fan, right? So anyway, I am indeed from Jacksonville, born and raised, grew up in Orange Park, which is a suburb next to the West Side. So yeah, I know Jacksonville intimately. Back in 2008, I was looking at the Robert Kiyosaki books, trying to figure out in the middle of a recession, how do I invest to have a retirement? Because I'm self-employed. I own a marketing agency. So my husband, Renee, and I, he's busy working on a project. Sorry, you can't see him, but you will see him in Jacksonville. We went ahead and we said, we want to invest in this group called Jacksonville Wealth Builders. And I told my parents, okay, we're gonna come out, we're gonna buy a property because we're in California now. And my parents were like, I don't know. This sounds too good to be true. So I said, why don't you come with us and check them out with us? And so this is back when they're in this little salon converted office. It was like super awesome. Like everyone was in this weird cubicle. It was so cute. 2012. And my parents ended up buying their first property the same day that we ended up buying our first property. So, and then my mother would tell my grandmother, you need to do some private lending. So we have 3 generations, my grandmother, who's 99, my parents and us, and my parents were able to retire thanks to what JWB has done for them. So we are definitely passionate about our time with JWB. They are the best. And they take my money. Take my money, Greg. Take it.
You know, Jen, your story, it warms my heart every time I hear it. You can tell that story any day, all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. And I love it. It's the essence of what we are hoping to, the impact we're hoping to have. And so to know that it's not just your trust that we've earned, but it's the trust of multiple generations in the Filson family is just incredible.
Yeah. Well, my mother is the one that really needed to be convinced. And then I kid you not, here we are 10 years later. And she's like, thank you so much for telling me about JWB. Like she's always just like, thank you. It's huge. In fact, you know what? I want to hear something from the community. Remember a few weeks ago, we had the first family, Ken and Carolyn, and their second daughter was on there, and he's like, come on, honey, buy this property. Did that ever happen? Ken, tell us, did your daughter ever buy that property? Because I'm dying to know what happened.
I don't know.
The Duchess,
Yeah.
I believe that the Duchess, she paid down her credit card debt, right? So she took
There's 2 daughters. There's 2 daughters.
okay.
There's Karen,
okay.
and then there's Katrina.
That's
it
right.
Katrina?
That's right. Third.
Help me there. Oh, 3rd daughter. Sorry, she's the
Third
third daughter.
daughter.
There you go.
Thank you, Karen. There's so many Malines.
Yeah. So many. Well, that's why they're the first family. I want to welcome Ayaz Hanifas, who says it's Ayaz's first show live with us. Found us on Facebook. Pumped to have you here.
All right. Welcome.
Ayaz is a new person. Oh, and Misty Johnson is joining us. Hey, Misty, good to see you as well. A past guest investor as well. You know, Ayaz, there's always new folks in our community. So thank you for checking in early and often and letting us recognize you. So everybody knows these are produced as webinars, right? But we call it an internet talk show. And right after this happens, next week, what we record today goes on YouTube, and it also goes out to podcast, and we publish micro content clips as well. So if you ever need to find past episodes, all you got to do is search Not Your Average Investor Show, either on any podcast platform or any YouTube platform, and you can see past episodes. Mm-hmm. And I also got breaking news. Greg and I started recording a course today.
Oh, goodness. Hot off the press.
Yeah. I don't think he was ready for me to share this, as you can see by his flared nostrils, but
there you go. You can tell it's a telltale sign.
I can tell. But what we realize is that we get a lot of new folks that come with us. They like parachute in, they like stumble into the show, and they're like, man, I feel like you guys are running at like 65 miles an hour and I just want to catch up, right? So we realize that there's a gap there. It's going to take us a while to deliver it, but we are going to create this like pre-recorded course so that everybody can catch up to all the concepts that we talk about here, and then be able to show up to the show and just like join in on the conversation, be part of the community, and do it daily. So keep an eye out for that one. It's going to be a fun one. All right. So Jen's story, awesome story. Jen, we're going to get more into your journey and the things that you've done. But right now we're going to test your chops as a guest investor today. Cause I know that I remember the first time that I ever onboarded you. And when onboarding, I mean, like we reach out to all our guests prior and we, I get to know them, and it's usually like a 20-minute call. With Jen, it was like an hour and a half call, which I'm sure nobody is surprised to hear. But hold on, I'm looking for the POTW. But I remember you immediately started talking about a whole bunch of like books and all these other things that you've researched, right? So we're gonna test your knowledge right now. So we're magically whisking ourselves away to 7332 Sharbeth Drive, South Jacksonville, Florida, 32210. It's got a purchase price of $250,000, which we see here. 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home with a driveway. It is leased out for $1,638 a month. And it's got here what not your average investors come from, right? This best in class conventional financing, total IRR of 14.3%, thanks large in part to the best in class appreciation rate that happens in Jacksonville, at 4.6%. And before we go to our guest investor, GC, what do you love about this property?
I thought you'd never ask, really. But since you did, I'll tell you what I love about this property.
Really?
Well, you know what I love about this property? Something that you don't see on this evaluation here. Something you actually do not see. You see the rent amount, but you don't see the fact that this is already rented. And this resident will be moving in just a few days, and they signed up for a 3-year lease. This home is going to be cash flow positive for the client that purchases this. And you've got consistent income coming in for 3 years, but it doesn't end there. Over 70% of our residents renew when their lease comes due. So in 3 years, there's a really good chance your resident is going to renew. So what I love about this, and what's just very, very common for our JWB homes, is what you get beyond just the eval, right? The fact that you can make a decision, add an asset, and it's cash flow positive from day one is not normal in the investing world overall. It's not normal in the real estate world, but this is the power of investing with a vertically integrated team like JWB. And so 3-year lease rented through 2026, cash flow positive day one. That's what I love about this property.
Sounds like a lot to love. Jen, what do you think when you're looking at this thing? What are you thinking about?
Well, I looked it up and it's close to grandma's house, West Side.
Right. Yeah.
Love the West Side area near Cedar Hills, right off of 295. Super convenient location. I also like all the brick facades. See, I know a lot of you guys like the new construction, and I like the new construction as well. But I really love the renovated properties. They're my favorite. We own 6 JWB properties and they're all renovations. And I just love having that character of old school Jacksonville. And this place is totally looking like some house that was loved in West Side. That's a West Side house for sure.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit more about renovations versus new constructions, because it's so great to hear it from your perspective, knowing that you've put your money where your mouth is. The 6 properties you own are renovated homes, and you had opportunities to invest in new construction, which was nothing wrong with new construction, but sometimes renovations, don't get the love that they deserve. So, every time, let's talk about your most recent decision. What did you lean on to make that decision, and why did you go with a renovated home over a new construction?
The number one reason is usually renovated homes are a little cheaper. And on a tight budget, the property number 6, I got in so lucky, guys. I got in, it was $145K. I'm like, yes.
I know. That was last year too. That's like 2012 prices right there.
Right. Well, we like closed late November or something, early December or something like that. It's like right at the
It's funny. I'm looking at the purchase prices of your properties. Your second property you ever purchased was in 2017, and that had a purchase price of $140,000. And so to be able to buy one in 2022 at 145, is pretty rare.
I know, what luck. And it just came on the market when I was like, in fact, I think it was my property portfolio person was, how do you get so lucky? I'm like, it's my magic wand.
Yep, that worked out really well. So lower purchase prices for renovated homes is the truth. I mean, that's what you see, right? For this home, $250,000 is a purchase price on Sharbeth. Might not sound all that low from a purchase price perspective, but when you think about it, it's 1,600 square feet home.
It's a big house.
It's a big house. If this was a brand new construction home for 1,600 square feet, it would be 280, 290, somewhere around there. So while you might not see it on this property specifically, you're able to buy at a lower purchase price when you purchase renovated homes.
And it's a bigger lot too. Yeah.
Love it.
Also, too, let's just look at it this way too. The older houses are in established neighborhoods, and new neighborhoods are also very sexy. But like, let's face it, like there are a lot of renters that want to be in established neighborhoods as well. So both new construction and renovated construction are fantastic, but there's something to be said when, you know, you can buy a rental that is within walking distance of the local middle school or the local high school. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of add to that, you know, with our style, the niche that we've created within JWB is to be an infill builder. So those new construction homes that we have most of them are right in established neighborhoods. And, you know, we're in the same neighborhoods over and over and over again. There's 4 core neighborhoods that new construction versus renovations are in. So, you know, if you're thinking about a new construction home, picture your new construction home surrounded by homes that look like this on Charbeth, right? For this renovated home. And, you know, this isn't really the kind of that brand new, you know, subdivision, single family rental subdivision. That's not really what a JWB investment property is. That's becoming more popular for more of kind of like Wall Street kind of forming those developments. But this is just a single family home, whether it's new construction or renovations, largely in a community that was probably built out in the 40s, 50s, 60s.
I was just having this discussion with somebody. I forgot who it was. I think it might have been Mike McKay, just talking about the genius of you guys figuring out how to scale infill lot construction as opposed to what everybody else is doing, of just like going out there and knocking down a whole bunch of trees where there's a whole bunch of area and bringing something new. You figured out how to do something that most people thought you can only do once here and once there. And you figured out how to just like systematize that and put it on a production line and widgetize this like infill lot construction, where you are filling in neighborhoods that need it, also taking advantage of like existing homes that are there that can just be brought up to scale. And like, as part of that, there's extra benefits to everybody. You're in an established neighborhood for the investor. Everybody is. The community doesn't, you know, like you're not pulling people away from where people are already living. You're just filling a need that already exists.
Right.
It's pretty impressive, man.
Well, it is one of the keys to our business model. And, you know, we've talked about it a little bit here, but I'm glad you're bringing it up here. You know, we learned quickly or very early on that we were not going to do new construction in a way where we were going to compete with the big guys, because we can't win that fight, right? Their cost of capital is way lower than ours, and their efficiencies are way more than, you know, our outfit, which is 100 people here in JWB, but, you know, we're not thousands. And so we knew that we couldn't win that battle. And that battle is, how do you take down a huge tract of land and build 100 houses or 300 houses on it? We weren't going to win that battle.
You're going to be competing against like Lennar and D.R. Horton and stuff.
Exactly. We're not going to win that battle. But what we realize is that individual, you know, real estate investors want nothing to do with figuring out how to turn that one single lot in an established neighborhood into a brand new construction home. Or the individual real estate investor wants nothing to do with clearing up title issues that would result in 3 lots being available in an already established neighborhood. And so we are right in the middle there, at a place where we have the knowledge, experience, the capital, the resources to take down 300, 400, 500 builds a year and do it in scattered sites in an area like Jacksonville, which is not what typical real estate investors want to do. And it's definitely not what the big guys want to do. We play in our own little sandbox here. And it's the reason why we're able to have such a runway of inventory for clients, able to keep costs low enough to make returns good enough for you. Yeah, it's really a key.
And even the maintenance piece of it is, there's a special genius to that, right? Because we've talked about this on the show a lot, this idea that you don't, instead of in lieu of regular inspections where like the resident, if they're doing something that, you know, whatever, they have a dog that they haven't reported, or there's something going on, they know you're coming, they can hide it. You instead have reached a scale in these established neighborhoods where you always have a contractor, you always have a service person around that is spotting things. I used to work with the big builders, right? Like it was like, you got one neighborhood out in the boonies over there.
Right.
And then 45 minutes away, you had another neighborhood out in the boonies over there.
Right.
And then another 3 hours away, you had a neighborhood out in the boonies way over there. Right. So like the efficiencies of scale for like upkeep and maintenance and like hurricane preparedness and all that type of stuff to me is a special source of genius. Speaking of hurricane preparedness, mountain man Bill Green, who doesn't get a lot of hurricanes up in his mountains of Colorado,
Nope.
he just gets bald eagles flying around.
Even if he did, he would just tame those things. He's the mountain man.
Not afraid of hurricanes. He's asking, per renovations versus new construction, do you need to spend more in bringing them up to hurricane codes, or is that usually not an issue?
For renovations versus new construction, you need to spend more in bringing them up to hurricane codes, or is that normally not an issue? No, I mean, bringing it up to code is not an issue, whether it's a renovation or it's a brand new construction. You got to spend the money to do it. It's easy, to understand how to do that. We've done that over and over and over again. So it's not really a bigger challenge on the renovation side or the new construction side.
There you go. There you go. And Danette Colvin is asking, tell me again, what is the 10K incentive package?
Danette, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. So we do have a few days left for JWB's largest incentive package that we have ever offered. It goes through January 31st. And for those clients who put properties under contract, like this property here on Sharbeth, if you put that one under contract by January 31st, you'll get roughly $10,000 of real cash incentives for you to be able to purchase this home. And that's broken down in 3 ways. The first is 2% seller concessions, which just means that we take the purchase price of the home, multiply it times 2%, and give you that cash. Now that can come in reduced down payment for you or reduced closing costs for you in a number of different forms. But either way, you get about, call it $5,500 there as a cash incentive for you. The other thing that we're going to do, which we never do, is that we are waiving your initial tenant placement fee. So that's call it about $1,500 value for this home, call it right around $1,600, $1,650 worth of savings there for your tenant placement fee right off the bat. And then the last thing, which I think is the most exciting thing, is a $3,000 maintenance credit will go to you right off the bat. As we know, maintenance and vacancies are a part of investing in rental properties. There's a cost of doing business, but your first $3,000 of costs are on JWB's dime. And so, so we've been running this, I think, through the month. Towards the end of December is when we announced it, and it's coming up on January 31st. So this would be a great opportunity to take advantage of it.
All right. Thank you for that, GC. Jen, we're going to test your knowledge here on rental properties. Jag's got a question. Is there more insurance risk on rehabbed properties? What is your answer on that one, Jen?
No, I don't foresee that. In fact, somebody was Bill was asking about hurricanes. Honey, if they've lasted this long and they're still standing, they're not in a dangerous area. You're fine. It's the houses by the beaches that you want to watch out for.
Yeah. I mean, that's a common thought too, right? These homes, many times, older homes, renovated homes, sometimes they're built out of concrete block or brick or whatnot. Your newer homes are built with wood frame. Now, it's not to say that you have to worry about new home construction either. The advancements in building new homes with wood frame construction up to codes are so much better than what they were when renovated homes were originally built. So you don't have to worry about wood frame either way. You don't have additional insurance risks for renovations or new construction. But to Jen's point, listen, sometimes you got these homes that are made out of concrete block or brick, and there's something to be said. If it's been around for 50 years, what are the chances that it's going to not last? It's pretty slim.
And if we can elaborate a little bit, right? So Jag asked more insurance risk, but Jenny Berger in the chat is saying premiums are a little higher on older homes than new builds. So there's a difference between like premiums being higher versus insurance risk, right?
Exactly. And that's a great point there, Jenny. So, when we talk about new construction versus renovations, the end result gets you to very similar IRRs. So your risk-adjusted return is very similar, whether it's new construction or renovations. That's why I'm agnostic. I love them both. I have them both in my portfolio, and I can sing the tune of either one and be completely truthful with you because it's very true. I love them both, but I love them for different reasons. And so on the renovated side, Jen let us know the number one reason why people love renovated homes and why I love renovated homes is you can typically buy them for a lower purchase price. So that's a big win. You also have lower property taxes on the renovation homes because your purchase price and your market value is a little bit lower, so you pay less in property taxes. But on the new construction side, you win for different reasons. Now, your purchase prices are typically a little bit higher. Your property taxes are a little bit higher, but that's offset with a couple of things. It's offset by your insurance costs. So on the new construction side, your insurance premiums are less. It might be somewhere around maybe $500 a year, whereas your insurance premium here on Sharbeth is $1,471 a year. Okay, so significant change there. And then on the new construction side, you have slightly lower maintenance and vacancy costs as well. So it all boils down to very similar IRRs. Again, that's why I love them both. But Jenny's point is absolutely accurate. You do have higher insurance premiums on renovated homes.
There you go. There you go. And I want to let's get into Jen's story. Jen, you are a guest investor today. You know the package, right? Like we get to like review your history and stuff like that. As I'm looking at your, I think we bring it up because I think this is really, really interesting, right? Like, GC is going to break this down for you, but I look at this idea that you've bought 6 properties since 2012 and 4 of them since you joined this community.
Yep.
What's going on?
Let's get on a buying spree.
What is going on? The education that we receive in this community from this show is amazing, right? I had read my Robert Kiyosaki books and I had been saving and scrimping with my husband, Renee, to get that very first property. And don't forget 2012, we're at the bottom of the recession, right? It was like, it was like everything I could do to scrape together. I think it was 17 grand that we had to scrape together to put a down payment on this $83,000 property. And then, I wanted to buy a property a year, but my finances were not such that I could. So I had to wait until 2017 to buy the next property. And then the show started in 2020 when the pandemic hit. And we're all like, on here. And then I had the fortune of Gregg coming out to Pebble Beach. And I'm like, okay, tell me about this self-directed IRA thing. And I was still scared about it because of course my financial planner was like, no, you don't want to do that. That's too risky.
Right.
So it was with the help of Gregg educating us in this show, Pablo also going along the ride. We're all learning together, right? And then Lee Bishop saying, I got this whole thing. I'll walk you through it. I'm like, okay. So because of what I knew about the show, and also too, I had some money scraped together. So we bought the property in January of 2021, but then it was 2022 that things really caught on fire because it was finally in January of 2022 that I got my money freed up from the stock market. And I remembered how upset I was because I lost 13 grand by just waiting a few weeks in January. Remember back then, like things were starting to go down.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd only lost 13 grand.
Yeah.
I was so pissed. And then I was able to buy 2 properties in March with the self-directed IRA. One is the traditional IRA, and then one is the Roth IRA. So I have they're like different silos. That's a whole discussion about that. And then I was lucky enough to get my, what is it called? Employee paycheck, something about it's like an ERC tax refund by being as self-employed. And I proved that I lost money during COVID. So then I got a nice little tax refund. Cha-ching, that is down payment on house number 6.
No way. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
I'm just hustling. I'm hustling to make sure that I have a portfolio of 30 properties by the time we retire. That's the goal.
That's
incredible. I remember us talking before 2021, and you were saying, I really want to be buying a property a year. I really want to be doing this. I'm going to be doing this. How can you help? And we would talk about it and just look at what you have done, right? Look at what you've accomplished. Look, when you think about who a not your average investor is and the actions you've taken, especially, and since 2012, that was a not your average move, right? To invest in this asset class. But I just feel like you reinvigorated in 2021 and made a decision to pull the money out of the stock market, to turn equity into income. And you have continued to go down that path. And if you wanted to make yourself really feel good and probably make your financial advisor really feel bad, we could run an analysis of how your money has performed by going down this not your average route and buying these 4 properties versus what would have happened if you had kept it in the S&P 500.
Cheers.
I'm just proud of you. I am so happy to be a part of this with you.
Well, I'm proud of you and I'm proud of this community. See, when you are doing something that is not average, there are so many people that will say, are you sure? And there's a lot of average investors out there who make you question, am I doing the right thing?
Mhm.
But not in this community. In fact, what's really cool is that the reason why I'm such a super fan is because it's because of this community that we have had the courage to move forward and invest in property. I mean, look, it's not just me and Renee, it's Drew Barnhill, it's the Malines, it's Leslie Wilson, it's Anthony Ditta, it's like everybody, it's Nadeem, it's like all of us are like, oh, well, let's look more at doing this. And then look, we have like QVC style purchasing of properties on Property of the Week on Thursdays. That's nuts. But we're all in this together. And if it weren't for this community and that oasis of safety, then I don't think I know for a fact we would not have accelerated our purchasing like we have. So there you go.
That makes you feel really good over
Dude,
there,
I got
doesn't
good.
it?
I'm like super cheesing over here. Yeah.
You just have that smile, like
Yeah.
you're not gonna say anything.
Yeah.
I can see it on your face.
Yeah. As Jen's talking, I'm like, man, this is so like everything she's saying is everything that we were hoping to accomplish, right? Like Jen, because I was like you, I invested in 2014 and I wasn't surrounded by the right people and I took my money out and that didn't do great, so like being part of this is huge. What really made me smile was when she goes, when you're not average, right? Like I remember when we were thinking about this thing and we were trying to like, what are we going to call it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I
like,
remember that.
What is this thing for? Right. And it was like, well, why isn't it the Jacksonville Rental Property Show? But it doesn't have the same connotation, right?
No.
It's this like real guttural feeling of just like being, knowing that you are seeing through the like veneer that has everybody, confused about stuff,
Right.
and identifying as like, yeah, no, that's me, right? Like this is community building 101. It's like throwing up that beacon of like what you identify with so other people can gravitate towards it and like be truly enabled through what Jen is talking about, what I've experienced, what everybody else has experienced. It's really cool, Jen. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then to add, as we have gotten together in our little regional meetups, the number one thing that everyone says repeatedly, regardless of what city we're in, is, wow, it feels so good to be hanging out and finally seeing in person like-minded individuals. Like we know that we're in this race together. And because we're together, we're all going to get across that finish line together. It's a beautiful thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I've had similar experiences. I'm kind of reflecting, this experience has been incredible, but I think this experience is, at least in my vision of what this has become, it started early on. When I first started to invest, I was lucky enough to get surrounded by folks that thought differently as well. And I know that changed my life forever. And to know that this community is also having that same impact on others is a really special feeling.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. And the friendships that we have in this community are just amazing. Like Bill Green, we got a chance to talk on the phone. We had a great time talking. And like, I just know that all these folks, Drew is a lifelong friend. Lee Bishop, Jane Bishop, lifelong friends. In fact, when we went up to Pittsburgh, the reason why I've been showing this off is we went up to Pittsburgh and we had our little meetup and they presented us with these gifts of hand-painted margarita glasses with a little recipe for the Pittsburgh teeny. Like,
nice.
Who does that but lifelong friends? And so I know that Lee is not on this call right now because he's off wearing his general contractor hat for a property he's working on. But like, this is the cool stuff. So come to Jacksonville, everybody. Let's play together.
Let's do it.
I love it. Jen, we got a couple quick questions from the community before Greg takes you on the This Is Your Life journey.
Okay.
Greg Stone asks, how many of the homes were single directed IRA purchases, Jen?
So one was a traditional IRA that I was able to buy completely with cash. And then the other was a Roth IRA that I had to finance 50% down. So two properties with self-directed IRA in each silo, because traditional is taxed differently from Roth. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Love it.
Makes
well
sense.
done.
Makes sense. And Ken Moline asked, Jen, do you have a target year when you will begin accelerated mortgage pay down that will enhance your cash flow when you finally decide to retire?
Great question. I'm already paying double on the Lambert property.
Love it. How'd you choose that one?
Well, I chose that one a while back because that was like what I had. And then we were doing the C3X. We need to do a redo. Can I request for the community? Let's do another day where we talk about that cash pay down C3X.
Okay.
Because
Absolutely.
the spreadsheet never worked for me and I just kind of did it. But anyway, now that I have Thomas Street at a 7.35% interest rate, I'm thinking, ooh, I need to pay that one down faster. But anyway, at the time I analyzed it. I'm like, all right, let's just go ahead and double pay on the mortgage. That way I can get this thing done faster. Because my goal, if I can, and I don't even know if it's possible for me, but my goal is to have a lot of these things paid off by 2030. And that's a challenge for me, but I would like to have that done because keep in mind, I'm buying properties as I go. So how am I going to do that? I don't know, but in JWB, we trust, as Nadeem would say.
Well, let's take that offline and talk outside of this, because I think we might be able to help you supercharge that strategy as well.
Okay.
Cool.
Love that. And Jag is also asking, how are you planning for withdrawals?
And Jag is asking about required minimum distribution. So as you get older and older, I think they start in your 70s or somewhere around there, the government requires you to take some of your money out of your traditional IRA so that the IRS can get paid and start to tax you on that. So you have to have a plan for that. Again, if you have more questions about that, happy to walk through that with you. Just set up a time to speak with the team or your portfolio manager, and we'll be able to guide you.
Okay, cool. Oh, and Misty's saying, Jen, the C3X spreadsheet doesn't adjust property as you add new properties, and there's no way to adjust as you pay down mortgage faster? Question mark.
I don't know. Let's do another day where we have that.
We'll do another day. All right, GC, take us through what you'd like to take us through here.
Yeah, well, I think this is a really cool snapshot of the growth, not just of her portfolio, her and Renee, but just like growth as investors here. You just think about where they were prior to 2012. They took a big leap of faith to invest here, to invest with JWB, to invest in rental properties, probably overcame a lot, and then continue to growth, especially the last couple of years. So proud to see that. And I just think, when you think about, I was going to start to kind of track and measure not just the number of properties that people are purchasing, but the number of properties that they're purchasing within the last 2-3 years. Because I just think that's a really cool win, like Jen was talking about as far as the community here. So very cool to see 4 Cents joining the community a few years ago.
Awesome.
Let's go to the next one.
Next one,
Vanna. So we haven't seen one of these.
That's our very first property, Miss Muffet.
Miss Muffet is your highest return on investment property. Of course, these numbers do not include home price appreciation. We'll save that for the end here. But when Jen is talking about investing in renovated homes, this is a great example of a renovated home that is doing quite well. And so looking at the numbers here, I will be the first one to tell you, this is not normal. We are going to just enjoy it, celebrate it. But Jen, you have one of the highest performing properties in JWB history. Let's just put that out there. Your annualized return on investment, every single year, your money has been working for you and producing a 34% return on investment. And again, that's not including home price appreciation. And this property has been owned since 2012. You only see a few years here, but you talk about consistency and duration and better risk-adjusted returns. Let's enjoy this one.
I want to talk about this property because it's near and dear to my heart on 2 things. The first thing is, you guys have to know that when I was first looking at buying something with JWB and I saw that this was on Miss Muffet Lane, I instantly fell in love because my daddy grew up not far from there on Snow White Drive. This particular neighborhood of the Cedar Hills, Heritage Hills area went back in the 50s when everything was being built. They had a contest to figure out what they should name the streets. And this little girl decided to name it after all of the fairy tales. And so, yes, that is why Heritage Hills is the way it is with all their cute little streets. And so I knew that like Miss Muffet had to be my place. And then also too, we did have a couple of renters go through the first couple of years, but the resident who's been there the longest, I think she's been there for 8 years now. She's amazing. I don't know her personally, but I just absolutely adore her. And I know that she's a single mom. And I when she first moved in, I sent her a bouquet and I said, welcome home. And that is my tradition. Whenever I have renters, I welcome them home because I want them to fall in love with that place as if it is their permanent home. And recently, this property, she was asking when she renewed her lease, she's like, hey, could I get new carpeting? And so JWB did a really great job of providing the information like, okay, here's how much it would cost for new carpet. Here's how much it would cost for the fake wood pergola, call it
The
LVP, whatever
luxury
that is.
vinyl plank flooring.
There you go. Thank you.
Mhm.
And he's like, which would you like? And I said, let's ask her, what would she like? And the response was, well, she'd be thrilled with the LVP, but like, she'll be happy with the carpeting too. I'm like, let's make her thrilled. And it's less maintenance for her having LVP versus vacuuming carpet. So she's thrilled. She stays there. I'm thrilled. She takes beautiful care of that property. Isn't it cute? It's so cute.
There you go. There you go. I think it's a great example of how we can all win together.
Yeah.
Right. It does not have to be antagonistic between landlord and tenant. Right. This is an example where Jen can win, the resident can win, JWB can win because we're making everybody happy as well.
Awesome. And Bill Green's got a germane question here. How much capital should a new investor with JWB put aside for unexpected repairs? Jen, how much do you put aside for like unexpected repairs?
In my checking account, I have 6 months worth of savings. So if I just tally up all of my properties and how much would that be? And then I have that times 6 for making sure that all mortgage payments, and that's always been enough for me because, you know, like the LVP thing, I think that was a $6,000-ish repair thing. So that's fine. I had it. So back in the earlier days when money was really tight, I would dip into my JWB checking account quite a bit and I would take money out, which is why it took me so long to buy property number 2. But we're much calmer now with our money.
Yeah, I think that's really key. And Bill, I'm glad you asked. It's really important, not just from a budgeting perspective, I think from a peace of mind perspective, to have your reserves set aside for you. So when something unexpected does happen, which it will, you don't have to dip into the personal bank account. It's already there, right? From a returns perspective, it works because many months you did better than you expected. And then you have a month where you have to spend on something and do a little bit worse, but the money's there. That helps you enjoy this investment more. And of course, we can help you set that up. You know, as I know the mountain man's close to buying his first properties with us. So we'll get you set up when the time is right.
All right. Speaking of unexpected stuff, let's talk about the lowest return on investment.
As wonderful as that first one did, you can tell I was kind of teeing you up there a little bit. Let's talk about this one on Barmer, because as raving a fan as you are, I think it's important for people to know that it is not all roses for you.
No,
right?
No, it's not.
Things do happen. You know, that's a part of rental property. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of lean into that. This one on Barmer has had a rough year in 2022.
Oh, it's had some rough years. This is just the most recent rough year. But again, volume. It's about volume, folks, because, you know, if you only have one and if you only have two, when one's performing well and the other one isn't, you're like, wah, wah. But, you know, as you get volume, it's like, okay, so one's performing less, whatever. Like, who cares? It all washes out. But so yes, I was very lucky that when we closed on this property back in 2017, we had a person move in, like it was like around Thanksgiving. So like Thanksgiving weekend, this person moves in. I believe it was a single male resident. I don't know his story at all, but I'm guessing that it was his first time being a single man for a while, because the very first thing that happened was he was pouring hot grease down the plumbing, which created a lot of plumbing issues.
Not so bueno.
No bueno. So whenever I see Renee get anywhere close to the drain with grease, I'm like, remember Barmer?
Yeah.
But and then we had to evict that resident. That wasn't fun either. But you know what? That's okay. Then we had this cute little military couple that was there for a while, and then they were gone. But then it got rented again. So there was a bit of a turnaround. I can't remember all the details, but we had to do some renovations because of that initial leakage, drain, plumbing nightmare. So whatever. But again, it's still positive. It's still positive overall, so I'm not worried about it. And it's one of the cuter properties too.
I think a couple of things, the value of having a portfolio that is more than one property, right? If you're an investor and you're thinking about buying one right off the bat, that is fantastic. We're going to start with one. There's nothing wrong with that, but you do need to have a plan in coming years to be able to add to your portfolio. Otherwise, it's going to be inconsistent, which is what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to get you out of the stock market so this can be consistent. You do need to have multiple properties, or else it's going to be really, really good for many, many years. And then one year you're going to have a bad year. And we're trying to avoid that.
All right, well, let's look at the whole portfolio review.
So the coolest things, we take all the good, we take some of the bad, it all funnels down into this beautiful portfolio review of all 5 profit centers. And so, Jen, this is the full picture of how you and Renee have been performing, your portfolio has been performing, all of that good stuff with some of that bad stuff on Barmer, and you still have earned over $31,000 of net rental income. That's cash in your bank account, which is incredible over the last 10 years. You invest in the stock market, you typically don't make a dividend. Typically don't get any of that, right? So you certainly win there. Tax savings, you've saved over $6,000 in taxes that you do not have to pay, which is incredible. Principal pay down. We don't talk enough about this, but I love this one. This one's sneaky fun because you don't see it in your bank account. But Jen, when you log into your loan balance on those 6 properties or those 5 that are financed, it is way lower than what it was originally. And your amazing residents paid that down for you over the years to the tune of over $26,000. And then there's home price appreciation. You know, home price appreciation, again, we started the show talking about how Jacksonville has these fundamentals that make it a place that appreciates more than the national average. Population growth, job growth, right? Well, you know, that's what's happened over, a 10-year period where Jen has been investing with us. She's earned over $259,000 in home price appreciation from her properties. And she's had 6, she's had 1 for a long time. The 4 of those are still relatively new. So just an incredible opportunity for you to see not just the things that happen on the cash flow basis or even on the tax savings, principal pay down. Home price appreciation is something you have to pay attention to when you see how much of your overall returns it comprises over a 10-year hold or over a 20-year hold, which Jen is on the path to doing. And lastly, inflation hedging, always something to keep in mind here now. Inflation is the core consumer price index is lower than what it was, but we are not out of the woods yet. 6.5% for a CPI is still very, very high. And if you have assets that are not earning 6.5%, if you got money in a checking account or a savings account or even bonds right now, and you're not earning 6.5%, you're losing. You're losing. Jen is winning here. You are beating inflation for sure. So your overall expected return on investment, when you made all of those decisions, the expected overall return on investment for your portfolio, Jen, was 13.6%. Your actual return on investment, your IRRs, are over 40%. That means your money has been working over 40% a year for you, have been your returns each and every year you've been investing with JWB here. So we are certainly beating your return expectations. And I'm so happy for you and Renee.
Oh, I'm so thrilled too. And for all those folks that have to deal with financial planners that tell you, well, we're providing 13% return with stocks. That's really good. We're doing great. And I'm like, yeah, I can do better in real estate. No. Real estate's scary. No, honey, you're just not making money off of me. That's why you don't want me to pull my money out. And so
Good.
These numbers prove that, yep, it's better than the stocks.
And you can do it in a way where I'm sure a lot of people told you it wasn't just financial advisor. I'm sure, I mean, if you're like me, I had family and friends that were telling me I was crazy when I first started to go down this path. I know for me, it was really gratifying beyond the dollars that I have made. It's the confidence in myself to know that I did it right, you know? And so it's been an awesome journey. Should we end up on that last wonderful slide that I always love to? So for folks, and this is largely geared toward those who might be wondering, like, how do you evaluate home price appreciation or cash flow or all this good stuff? The reason why you have to pay attention to home price appreciation when you're choosing the market to invest in is shown on a pie chart like this. And if you're fans of the show, you've seen this graph over and over and over again. I show it every time we do a client journey. What it shows is the percentage of your total return broken down by profit center. Most investors out there in rental properties only focus on cash flow, but over and over and over again, what this shows is that home price appreciation over a long term, a 10 or a 20-year hold, is going to be the majority of your overall returns. And so you can see for Jen's portfolio, over 80% of her returns came from home price appreciation. And you know which markets are going to do better for home price appreciation. So when you're thinking about where to invest, take into account the market, take into account home price appreciation, and work with a vertically integrated team. And then you can maximize your risk-adjusted returns on investment, just like Jen and Renee.
Yeah, if you're listening on the podcast, we talk about it all the time. It looks like a Pac-Man, right? Like the pie chart looks like a Pac-Man. Home price appreciation is the Pac-Man or Mrs. Pac-Man in this case. And the mouth of it is everything else, right? Rental income is about, half of it. Then tax savings and principal pay down are the other half of the mouth of the Pac-Man. But like the majority of the returns are happening from this.
I think people on the podcast totally got that. They got the mouth of the Pac-Man, half of the back, half of the mouth. real technical terms there, podcast listeners.
It's quite the visual, but it's a really large Pac-Man with a small mouth, really.
There you go. Join the party. Come in here and hang out in NYAIS.com, and then you don't have to listen to it. Mouth of Pac-Man stuff.
Awesome.
It's cute though. Mrs. Pac-Man with lipstick.
Mrs. Pac-Man. Yeah, we got to put a bow on that thing. GC next time you do Jen's thing.
There we go.
Real quick question from Raj. Raj is asking what the MOI is in Jacksonville, new construction existing. Do you have that right now, GC? Are we saving the stats for kind of like a quarterly update? Or?
I haven't checked it since the last time I was asked, which was like 2 shows ago. It was about 3.5, and we'll have it updated here when we're going to do the next show. And for stats, I'll have an updated number for you within a couple of weeks for sure.
Sounds good. This was awesome. Jen, you've been on this show before. I kind of call you whenever I need a panel or something. You are the fairy godmother, right? You were the one that really pushed for the live events and getting people together in your home and other people's homes. Like the millions we got. Renee with us,
hey
the
guys.
Filipino Clark Kent, we like to call him around here. Say hello.
Hello.
Our Filipino Clark Kent. I wanted him to come in. He's working on a project, but everyone's saying hi. So just know that you're popular too.
We'll see you soon, Renee. I heard you're going to Kauai,
same here,
and
same
then
here.
before coming to Jacksonville, man. Pumped to see him. All right. So that being said, Jen, you've been the official spreader of love out here, right? Like you're the fairy godmother. You're granting people's wishes and everything like that. Just really, really grateful that we got to see your journey. It is really impressive to think that you've put in 4 properties under contract since 2021 and the way that you've done it, right? Like I take a lot of inspiration in that because I'm an entrepreneur with a small business. And it's not like if I have this like W-2 income that I can just put aside all the time that's guaranteed. You've had to like scratch and claw and make it happen. So I just think it's really, really phenomenal. So thank you so much for sharing it with us today and being here.
Thank you. I had an epiphany the other day because I'm like, even I have that negative self-talk that sometimes haunts me. Let's see how many people can relate. Like, I should have done this sooner, or I should have done this better, or I shoulda, right? And remember the game Cash Flow, the Robert Kiyosaki game Cash Flow, right? Remember
Absolutely.
There's the different jobs, right? There's the airline pilot, there's the teacher, there's the police officer, the lawyer,
Right.
the secretary, the janitor. And I was reviewing our money. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I'm somewhere between the janitor and the secretary in my income.
Nice.
Okay. Really, when you look at me and Renee, we are in California, in Monterey, where it's super expensive. We're renters, right? All of our rentals are in Jacksonville, Florida, because they're affordable compared to where we're at. There's no way we can do what we're doing here in Monterey. Not a chance in hell yet. Give me time though. But it just proves to me that yes, we are not big money makers. And yes, I have a successful business, but it could be more successful. But the point being is that if you're wondering, is this possible for me? My answer is yes. Yes, it is. If I can do it, if Renee and I can do this, you can do this. Jump on. It's safe. It's warm. It's welcoming. The water is lovely. Come swim with us.
Such an inspiration, Jen. I was just thinking about when we started going down this path of this for my company, I said, who do we want to serve? I want to serve people like you. I want to help people like you, right? We are not here to serve Wall Street and they don't get it. They don't get the big value, but we are driven by impact. We are driven by changing people's lives. And to know that we've had some impact on you is incredible. Thank you for sharing your story. You're such an inspiration for everybody here.
Well, and you know, Karen, Duchess Karen is asking, are we still hosting the online cash flow games? You know, we haven't in a while, but if the community wants to, let's do it.
There
We
you
will
go.
be traveling. On Monday, we're going to Kauai for a week.
Nice.
So we're kind of traveling right now, but the answer is yes, Karen. And anybody who wants to play cash flow games, Misty and Troy, though, they're like the winners every time. Like
Misty already
they-
checked in that she wants to defend her crown.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
for sure. So let's put it together, folks, and let's come up with a plan when we all meet in Jacksonville on February 25th. Let's come up with a plan for our cash flow games online. That way we can hang out online, have our beverages of choice, and get to know each other better on Zoom. Yeah.
I love it.
Awesome. All right. This was a good one. Next week, Tuesday, the favorite is back, the Not Your Average Insights.
So excited.
We just go topic to topic, what's happening in the economy, going back and forth, starting off with why they're calling it a white collar recession or a rich session. What does that mean, GC?
Goodness.
You're going to have to wait and find out.
Oh man, that just makes my skin boil.
All right. So I want to thank Jen, you number one, for being here. The community, 40 plus folks hanging out here with us on a Thursday, middle of the day, spending an hour with us. Never goes without noticing. You make this show awesome. You are the reason why we have this community. You're the reason why we have reasons to talk about this stuff and help people. So thank you for being here. We will see you on Tuesday. And until then, whatever you do, what can't you not do, Jen?
Don't be average, and may all of your real estate wishes come true. Mwah.
See you next week.